Hello students, welcome back, and this is the video of class 9th biology, and today we will start the chapter 1 of biology, that is cell, the fundamental unit of life. So as you know, all the living organism in this world is made up of cell. So how can you prove that cell is the fundamental unit of life? So we will see in this video. All living organisms are made up of microscopic units called the cell, and cell is the fundamental unit of life. But how will you prove that cell is the fundamental unit of life? So if you see any organism, like you can see here, this is a horse and this is a plant. So if you will look into the organism, you will find that any organism is made up of organ system, and that organ system is made up of organ, and this organ is made up of tissues, and ultimately the tissues are made up of cells. So cells are the basic unit that group together and make the tissues, then tissues make the organ, and organ, more than one organ make the organ system, and all of the organ systems make the complete organism. Like you can see in the case of plants also, this plant is made up of organ system, this organ system of made up of organ, and the organ of the plant is made up of tissues, and the tissues are ultimately made up of cells. So you can say the cells are the basic smallest living entity that make the any organism. So the cell is called as the fundamental unit of life. In all living organisms, cell perform the essential function of life processes. Whatever the life processes which are very essential for the existence of life, that life processes are done by the cells. Therefore the cells are the smallest unit of the basic organization of the body. Now we will know about discovery of the cell. So who discovered the cell for the first time, who gave the evidence that cell is the basic unit of any organism? So it was Robert Hooke. The English scientist named as Robert Hooke observed the cell in the slice of cork under his self-developed microscope in 1665. So he observed the cell in the cork. So what is cork? Cork. So here you can see this is the picture of Robert Hooke, and this is his own self-made microscope, and this is what he saw under the microscope in the slice of cork in 1665. So what is cork? Cork is a substance which is obtained from the bark of a tree. Now you can see this tree, this is a tree, and this bark of the tree, oak tree, this is the oak tree, and the bark of the oak tree is called the cork. And the thin piece of slice of cork the Robert Hooke observed under his self-made microscope, and he saw many tiny box-like structure in cork resembled to honeycomb. What did he see? He see the tiny box-like compartments, like you can see in this picture. And this is the cork tissue, and you can see the small cells, dead cells are there, and he saw there's so many numerous box like tiny compartments, and he draw the diagram. This is the drawing made by the Hooke after observing the cell in the cork tissue, and he called these compartment cells. However, cork cells observed by him were actually dead cells. As you know, the bark of any tree is made up of dead cells, so he saw the dead cell for the first time in the cork. Now he published his discovery in his book named Micrographia in the year 1665. Whatever he saw in his own self-made microscope, he published his discovery in the book called as Micrographia. In which year? In the year of 1665. 1665. Now, after that, in 1674, a Dutch scientist, Antony van Leeuwenhoek, observed free living cells in pond water under his improved simple light microscope for the first time. So, the Robert Hooke, he discovered the dead cell actually, but who discovered the living cell, free living cell for the first time? So, the scientist whose name is Antony van Leeuwenhoek, and he was a Dutch scientist, and he observed for the first time the free living cell in the pond water under his improved simple light microscope. He also made his own microscope, and he saw different kind of items under his own self-made microscope, and in the pond water for the first time he saw the free living cell in 1664. Like you can see here, this is the picture of Antony van Leeuwenhoek, and this is his self-made microscope. He was also the first one to observe bacteria, protozoan and red blood. Under this self-made microscope, he also observed the bacteria, protozoan and red blood cells for the first time in the world. Like you can see here, microscopic observation by Anton van Leeuwenhoek. He draw the diagram of white blood cell, red blood cell, yeast cell, bacterial cell and sperm cell. Now after that, Robert Brown, a Scottish botanist, discovered the nucleus in the cell in 1831. Okay, in 1831, the Robert Brown, he was a Scottish botanist, and he discovered the nucleus. As you know, each cell has a control system, and that is called nucleus, which is very important organelle. So Robert Brown discovered the nucleus in the cell for the first time in 1831. Now J.E. Purkinje in 1839 coined the term protoplasm for the fluid substance present inside the cell. So the living substance, fluid substance present inside the cell is called protoplasm, and this term was coined by the scientist J.E. Purkinje in 1839. The cell theory. So let's see. So in biology, cell theory states that all the plants and animals are composed of cells which serve as the basic structural and functional units of life. So what does cell theory state? Cell theory states that all the plants and animals, means all the organisms in this world, are composed of cells. And these cells serve as the basic structural and functional unit of life. Means the structural unit of life in the organism is cell, and whatever the work that is done by the organism, that is basically done by the cells. So cells are the basic structural and functional unit. It is given in the cell theory. And you know that all the organisms are made up of cell, and that is said by the cell theory. Okay. The theory was presented by two biologists. So the question is, who gave this theory? So the answer is, the theory was presented by two biologists. First one is Matthias Jakob Schleiden, a German botanist, in 1838, and the second scientist, that is Theodor Swan, a German zoologist, in 1839. These two scientists given the cell theory. In which year? In the year of 1838 and 1839. The Schleiden was the botanist, means he was studying about the plants, and Swan was a zoologist, means he was studying about the animals. And while studying the plants and animals, they concluded that all the plants and animals are made up of cell, and cells are the basic structural and functional unit of life in case of plants as well as in case of animals. These are the scientists. Sleeden and Swan. The observation made by them led to the concept of cell theory and laid the foundation of modern biology. Now, in 1855, there was another scientist named as Rudolf Virchow, and he was a German biologist, made an addition to the cell theory. He was also studying the organisms, the living organism, and in 1855 he added a statement into the cell theory, that is omnis cellula acellula. He added a sentence into the cell theory, and that sentence was omnis cellula acellula. What is the meaning of this sentence? It means that all cells arise from pre-existing cells. So he said that the new cell comes from the pre-existing cell, and now you can say that the cell theory consists of the following statements. The first one is all living organisms are made up of cells and cell products. Second one is a cell is the site for all metabolic reactions. Thus, a cell is the structural and functional unit of life. Third statement of cell theory is all cells arise from pre-existing cells by the division of already existing cells. Life of every organism starts from a single cell. This is the fourth statement of cell theory, and there is an exception of cell theory, that is viruses. Viruses are an exception of cell theory because they are not a cell. They are not a true cell, but they somehow behave like a living organism, but they do not contain the cell. Now you can conclude the cell theory. The cell theory is the theory which is given by three scientists, that is Sleeden, Swan and Virchow. And Sleeden gave his statement in the year of 1838. Swan gave his statement in the year of 1839, and Rudolf Virchow added a new sentence in the year of 1855. And what did they say? The Sleeden say that all plants are made up of cell, and Swan said that all animals are made up of cells, and Virchow said that all cells came from the pre-existing cells. So altogether the cell theory said that the cell is the basic structural and functional unit of life, and all the organisms are made up of cells, and the new cells arise from the pre-existing cell. And cell is the basic unit, fundamental unit of life. Cells. So on the basis of the nuclear organization, cells have been classified into two types, and as you know, the cells have the control system in it, and that control system have all the information, all the data to control all the activities of the cell. So first of all, we will see what is nucleus and what is the structure of nucleus. So here you can see a complete true nucleus which is having so many components, not so many but few components. And here you can see four main components found in the nucleus, which is the first one is nuclear membrane. This is the outermost covering of the nucleus, and which is discontinuous. It is having pores. That pores are called nuclear pore, which communicate with inside and outside environment of the nucleus. And inside the nuclear membrane there is a thread, entangled thread like a structure, which is chromosome, and there is another rounded structure that is called nucleolus. So this is the complete true nucleus, and which is having nuclear membrane, nucleolus, nuclear pore and chromosome. And now we will talk about what is prokaryotic cell and eukaryotic cell. So prokaryotic cell, this word prokaryotic is made up of two words, the two Greek words, that is pro and karyon. Pro means before and karyon means nucleus. So the nucleus, which is primitive, very simple type of and the cell which is having the very primitive and simple kind of nucleus, they are called prokaryotic cell. Here you can see the diagram of bacteria. A bacterium is here, and this bacterium is having the prokaryotic cell. And here you can see there is the genetic material of the bacterium, and which is not covered by the nuclear membrane. So they are very primitive kind of nucleus having, and that's why they are prokaryotic cells. Prokaryotic cells are single celled and lack a nuclear membrane. So this is to remember that prokaryotic cells do not have nuclear membrane, and they are very simplest kind of cell, and they have primitive organization of genetic material. The genetic material is a single molecule of circular DNA, and these cells have an undefined nuclear region and called nucleoid due to the absence of nuclear membrane. So as you know, the bacteria or prokaryotic cell do not have the nuclear region, and their genetic material is not bounded by the nuclear membrane, and in this case the genetic material is called as nucleoid. And these cells lack several membrane bound organelles as well, like mitochondria, lysosome, endoplasmic reticulum, chloroplast and nucleolus. These cell membranes are not found in the prokaryotic cell. Many of the functions of these cells are performed by poorly organized parts of the cytoplasm. So as you know, the membrane bound cell organelles are not present in the prokaryotic cell. So the functions are done in the cytoplasm itself of the prokaryotic cell. And here you can see the example of the prokaryotic cell, that is bacteria and blue-green algae. So keep this in your mind that there are two main organisms which are having the prokaryotic cells, and these organisms are bacteria and blue-green algae. Now we will talk about eukaryotic cells. Eukaryotic cells are the cells which are having true nucleus. So eukaryotic word is made up of two Greek words, that is eu means true and karyon means nucleus, means the cells which are having true nucleus, they are called eukaryotic cell. And you can see the diagram of eukaryotic cell. It is having all the cell organelles like endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi body, mitochondria, centriole and lysosome, all the cell organelles, and very importantly that they have the nucleus, complete true nucleus with the nuclear membrane. Eukaryotic cells have a well-defined nuclear membrane, and in these cells the genetic material is made up of two or more DNA molecules. The nuclear material consists of a linear DNA enclosed in a nuclear membrane. So the genetic material of the eukaryotic cell is made up of a linear DNA, and that is covered by a nuclear membrane. These cells have a well-organized nucleus, that is true nucleus, and these cells have well-developed membrane-bound organelles like mitochondria, endoplasmic reticulum, lysosome, chloroplast and nucleolus, etc. Example of eukaryotic cells is plants, animals, fungi and protozoa, and as well as the human beings. Now we will see differences between prokaryotic and eukaryotic cells, and here is the table you can see here. This is the features and on which we will differentiate the prokaryotic and eukaryotic cell. Okay, the size of the cell. So on the basis of the size of the cell, you can see the prokaryotic cells are smaller in size and they can measure from 1 to 10 micrometer, and the eukaryotic cells are large in size and they can measure from 5 to 100 micrometer. Now on the basis of nucleus, you can say that the prokaryotic cells have undefined nuclear region due to absence of nuclear membrane, and the eukaryotic cells have well-defined nuclear region surrounded by the nuclear membrane. So basically you have to remember that in prokaryotic cells there is absence of nuclear membrane, and the eukaryotic cells, they have the nuclear membrane. Their genetic material is bounded by the nuclear membrane. Now we will see on the basis of chromosome, the genetic material that is called chromosome. In the prokaryotic cell, the single molecule of circular DNA is found, and in the eukaryotic cell more than one chromosomes are found. In case of prokaryotic cell, the nucleolus is absent, and in prokaryotic cell, the nucleolus is present. On the basis of membrane bound cell organelles, you can differentiate them that the prokaryotic cell, the membrane bound cell organelles are absent, but in eukaryotic cell, all the membrane bound cell organelles are present. So these are the main differences of the eukaryotic and prokaryotic cell, and you must keep this in your mind that prokaryotic cells are the primitive kind of cells. They are the first kind of cells developed on this earth, and eukaryotic cells are the more advanced kind of cells, and they are found in all the high class animals and plants. So this is all for this video, and in the next video we will talk about some more topics of this chapter, that is fundamental unit of life, that is cell. And till then, thank you everyone.